insane. Every plant has fund excess $100,000. Actually, I was going to I'm actually glad I. Yes. All right. Look at the. Okay, I've got it. That would be active. Is that SG? Yeah, it's not the whole. Oh, we'll be tomorrow.
So we're just a few minutes after 1:05, maybe.
Not a problem.
Another. Do you feel that you'll want the full? Well, you're also before a break. Before you want the.
We'll just go as long as we need to go. I am infinitely flexible.
Yeah, ask me, so that whoever else, you're just. Yes. Yours.
That way you
Yeah,
don't-
if you need
that
it
way you
later.
don't read it.
Ah. That's a good, well, where's the, oh, look at that. Okay, yeah. I'm reading it now.
I hate hearing about it. Makes me feel old.
If it helps, I'm in my 36 years. I got out of college maybe.
I'm a little before you. Operation. High level operational efficiency. At plant level. See, and that's what blows my guys away. That they think that staying focused at plant level. Safety is. So I guess profit side. Sure it doesn't go. Profitability. Yeah. Get down to the operational level. Or what we find the only that we can make. That's interesting. Carbonized. Yeah, it is radically different.
Starting, I think. Yeah. You,
Go to the bathroom.
Go to the bathroom?
Go to the bathroom, wash your hands,
Okay.
take a pill, whatever.
not gonna only
So it's,
No.
so.
You don't.
this presentation is on safety, improvement,
Yeah.
by George Person.
So what's what? Right now.
What's the
Offset.
reason for
So
this?
you are
Because the next
Okay.
presentation will get delayed.
No, after this, we have a coffee
I
break.
see, but what, so when I
For this
say.
room,
they-
for this person.
Yeah. That is the next one, corrosion and erosion.
That one is at.
Corrosion and erosion.
Yeah, so,
Yes.
yeah.
But if you don't-
No,
you don't
because
have
mine
to
has
spend money.
Two coffee breaks, this one and the next
So
one.
that's a
Here.
Financial incentive. Good in that sense, yeah, but remember.
So are you
we
looking to?
we also.
Yeah, I'll sit in.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna ask,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Sure, actually, no.
Sorry, otherwise I'm going to the bathroom and do this.
Hey, I've got to bolt out of here to go get on a plane to Singapore. I got to be in Singapore tomorrow morning, so.
Oh, you're presenting them? Who are you working with? Sorry, I'm curious.
Allow me to introduce myself.
Oh, this is just plug and play. I'm also
Oh,
extra.
I'm happy to do it. I love 4 and 5 people crowds. So much easier.
4 or 5 people crowd flow.
We're still short of maybe that.
Yeah.
I have,
That's
I
why
have, thank you.
So I'm George Parrott, and as of Monday, I've returned to my old position at ExxonMobil, operational excellence. Yeah, I've spent 25 years doing it. The minute they offered that package, out the door, and a day later, it was like, man, I should have retired. So it's been a lot of good fun, and it's been a lot that's been very interesting. But my position in operational excellence was that when I started the refinery back in the 90s, they would have these projects that would come on. First one was cogeneration, build a big cogen plant because Texas was going to power that. So it was embedded with the utility of electricity. As we progressed up and down the supply chain, the company came back and said, every time we find a really good product or really good efficiency program or something like that, we're going to send out guys and ladies to go out into these companies and make them align more closely with ExxonMobil's strategies. Horrific idea. We made really good vendors and really good suppliers by doing that. Yeah, there's nothing to shut up.
I apologize. I should have.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So with that, we came back and we started figuring out, okay, why are we getting so much better performance out of these 2,500 suppliers and vendors that we consider high performing suppliers? Why are we getting so much better performance out of them than Chevron, Phillips, Shell, Total, and ADNOC? Couldn't remember the M right. Right. And so it was like, well, since we're partnering with these guys, then we're going to start sharing this information. So what we did was kind of fun. Went around to a whole bunch of people, talking from the CEOs, the safety guys, to the guy that actually turns the valve that gets the product flowing. What keeps you up at night? Simple question. Okay, and this is what I was referring to, Nick, to you earlier. The level you talk to, totally different perspectives. The guy who's sitting there, who's the safety man, what's his focus? Making sure everybody goes home safe. Get to the plant manager, what's his focus? Well, profitability and safety. Get to the corporate level, what's our focus? Profitability. So it varies greatly. For example, like I said, the C-suite, all we cared about at corporate headquarters was catastrophic damage. Wanted to avoid catastrophe. It's our brand, it's our name. We're looking at it from a really high altitude. Okay, OpEx guys, people like me, anything we did that would cause a loss of production. Like I was telling Nick, we go deal with so many new little projects every year that those failures hurt. It's death by 1,000 cuts. Some of them, well, we expect to get a 30% efficiency on it, or production cost, or whatever the metric was. Get 28. That's bad. Start getting a whole bunch of those little cuts. You're back out in the cold and you're no longer on operational excellence. Operations, what do they care about? Manpower, manpower, manpower. They are freaked out right now about the lack of available people coming to work in the oil and gas industry. Turnaround guys, supply chain. They just don't think they're going to get the tools they need, whatever they need. So here's how we did it. And this was actually something that we came up with in 2016 when the Avengers movie started coming out. Was an Avengers scenario, supposedly in the movie, and I don't think I've seen it, but I might have. A lot of airplane flights. There's a villain in there, he snaps his fingers, and 50% of the population disappears overnight. And that's what our HR people were thinking about. That, oh my God, if some catastrophic event happens and 50% of the workforce disappeared overnight, how are we going to continue to make oil, make gasoline?
You need 50% of
Well, that was just started out because I think that was in the movie. But surprisingly, this was 3 years before the pandemic. And so when the pandemic came around, it was like, oh my God, we actually have to take this from the theoretical phase into the reality phase. Say, okay, how do we make our products and keep the supply of gasoline up for global demand with 50% of the workforce? Because personally, when I was at the refinery, I had 14 quarantine periods. So 2 weeks, 28 weeks. I spent almost half a year at home in quarantine. Because I came out to the plant, talked to somebody, met with somebody off of the ship. Boom, hey, before COVID, you were at the plant of that day, you go home. So it was really an amazing example. But the fun part is when the pandemic came around, I'm like, oh God, this is really happening. So what do we do? Now, more than ever, the renewables. Trying to get somebody to come and work in the oil and gas space right now is a challenge. Oh God, it's dirty, dangerous.
You can hug millennials.
Very much so.
Managers, project directors.
Very much so.
They don't want.
Oh no, they would rather go out to the solar farm
They don't want
and bake in the sun, than walk inside of a plant, because plants are dirty. Give you a specific example. The Baytown refinery in Baytown, Texas, just east of Houston, would hold on a regular basis, probably the first Saturday of every month, a hiring test. Normally, you'd probably get 2,000 to 3,000 people every Saturday show up to take this test. If they pass the aptitude test, then they move on to the next step. And the phases of getting in the door. 2,000. This was right after the pandemic. So 2022. Okay. Last Saturday, 30. We're talking probably one of the only jobs outside of being a drug dealer or prostitute. You can make over $100,000 with a high school education. It's great money. It's a lifelong job, but why in the world are we having this challenge? So that was our measure. Is how do we accomplish our goals with fewer people? Immediately, thanks to all the, where are you from originally? UK. We automatically turned to Europeans. Because the Europeans have been fighting this problem for a lot longer than we have. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And it was talking about if we were in the United States, we could find it. We just raise our rates. You know? Well, hell, you're already giving high school graduates with barely any street smarts, you know, $150,000 a year, maybe more. You know? So how do we do this? So that was the U.S. side. We pay enough for it. Okay. But when you do that, you run some serious risks. And in this case, it was safety and compliance. For example, hull watch. Does everybody know what a hull watch is? So I don't have to go into that. It's literally a person that says, don't go in that hole. Don't go in that hole. That's all it is. Normally, it's about a $16 an hour job, you know, for a contractor. And they would bill us probably $25 an hour for it. They kept raising that rate to get more people in there, and they couldn't find them. The next thing you know, they were going to prison, getting ex-cons to come in and fudging compliance portion of it. But yet they were coming in there. The next thing you know, they were falling asleep. They were doing drugs, they were doing whatever it was they were doing, but they weren't watching, telling you don't go in that hole. Next thing, you know, domino effect. They come in and start having accidents and people suffocating in holes. Security is even more bizarre. It's just some of the things. So what we did, this is when I was on the operational excellence team. What we did is we came up with a program called GOES, which is Global Operational Excellence Solution. So what we took with this program, we're going to go around to 1,000 refineries and petrochemical plants around the world and sit there and spend at least a week in each one of them and find out what they do well, what works, and what doesn't work. And you would be amazed at the innovations that we found. I mean, something as simple as the plant I go to tomorrow in Singapore, they thumbprint everything. You thumbprint to get on the bus. You thumbprint to get in the gate. Thumbprint to go to the porta potty. You thumbprint to get out of the porta potty. But the fun thing is that by taking those metrics, they're being able to turn productivity and non-productivity time. So that non-productivity time then gets captured as some instant savings. Procurement loves it. HR hates it, but procurement loves it. So what we did just for this edition last year, or what they did for this edition last year, was visit 96 plants in 53 different countries. Okay. Nice cross section. Everywhere from Nigeria, where they take home pickle buckets full of crude oil and refine their own gasoline. Not real smart, but it still happened. You know, but finding the best practices for turnarounds around the world. And these were some of the award winners. Some of the findings we came up with. Granted, things are done differently. Okay? But we would lose so many people by watching practices and you just totally want to put that American exceptionalism hat on. Oh my God, they're going to kill themselves. Throw out the stop card. So it took us a long time to get people to quit doing that. I was literally on an oil rig in the South China Sea, watching them winch up a manifold, saying the wind's too strong. And the wind's still picking up. The wind's too strong. Shouldn't be doing it. I'm talking to the guy with the radio, talking to the crane operator. Wind's too strong. We were literally sitting on a railing. There's a guy about here, that end of the table to me, smoking a cigarette on the railing. Another one of those new rules. Yeah, their plant, their rules. But they're sitting there, and this manifold comes across, and because he's sitting on the railing, hits him here. His legs stand, his torso goes over the side. Red card, anyone? No. So I pull mine out. Okay, stop operations. They hit the buzzer. Everything shuts down. So just out of curiosity, who do you think was supposed to send the red card? Not the visiting company man on the red. Somebody in operations should be doing it. Oh, well, he should. Okay. So that was one of the things we had to really absorb quickly. Things are just done differently. So it'll be better or worse, it's done differently. For example, in the photo, the scaffolding you see there is bamboo. It's totally freaks you out when you see it, but I would put that system up against some of the best processes, some of the best scaffolding systems we have in America. It's just amazing. So what we wanted to capture, what are the different skills? What are the different technologies? And what are the different processes being used that we can implement over here because we've got fewer people? For example, pole talk about those guys again. Literally, my daughter paid her way through university in a gap year, sitting on a pickle bucket at ExxonMobil. Win that hole, or let me see your compliance card. And got a great pay for that. And that was fine. It's cheap, it was cost effective. She knew what she was doing, and she actually kept the rules straight. Now you can't do that anymore. Hiring that person, he can be much more valuable sitting there watching somebody with a welding tool doing something else rather than sitting on his behind on a pickle bucket. So what happens now is you start putting cameras everywhere. So in this case, Overwatch has progressed from an actual physical person sitting there watching the stuff to a physical person sitting in a booth somewhere or a trailer watching 20 or 30 open holes. Now the problem was a year ago, that process was so expensive, you had to really have 14 or 15 open holes to do it. Well, when you're in a turnaround, you're not going to have 14 or 15 open holes. It's dangerous. So luckily, that price has come down now so much. You can do that literally with 2 holes. So the price that you're going to pay $16 an hour for the hole watcher, you can recover it by having a guy, whether he's on site or off site, looking at that and monitoring those screens. And 9 out of 10 times you can rent these from the safety company. Not something you have to buy. This is one that I get in trouble with all the time. This is a Turkish transmitter from a company called Lida. And it is amazing. It is literally that big. You can wear it around your neck. You can put it on a sticker. Okay. And it's not an RFID tag. This is an active signal. You can have a satellite fly over your plant and identify all these lighting tags if you wanted to. But what we do now, and this was, I believe, a Shell plant, what they do is they put up a transmitter at several places around the refinery, and they track these tags. And like I said, the tags work just as well for people as it does for inventory. For example, in this one, you were issued a badge to get into the facility. Rather than getting a badge, it was just a sticker on top of that with your picture on it. So whenever you walk into the gate, no more of the badging in and badging out stuff. This was tracking you. And the way they captured the cost of this thing is that you could walk into the gate, you get standby pay. But you're not on tools yet. You're on the plant facility. You get a unit, a different rate. Once you actually do work, totally different rate. It's that delta in between that made up for the cost efficiency and made up for the time back. Saying, look, you've only been on tools 36 hours, but you billed us for 3,600 hours. So you're able to get that down. It's amazing what these little things can do. Another one of the fun things is with this is, remember, it's a proximity badge. You put a proximity badge in a reader somewhere, and you can do all sorts of things with it. One of the things they did was put a transmitter on a forklift, and then you were walking around with this. If you got within so many feet of the forklift, feel it, and you have even closer. You know, so it would recognize you, saying, hey, you're in a danger zone, look out. Same thing, crane ways. You walk under a crane way, the thing just lets you know that you're in the crane way. Also, it would come in and record it to the system and say, oops, the guy from Emerson was walking into the crane way today. And if you wanted to capture that, report back to him, you could. One of the fun things we do, or that gets done with these right now, is when you're doing a turnaround, taking apart hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of it. It happens every time I've dealt with. Oh, it's well over 200 of them in 40 years. And take this equipment apart, you set it down in the laydown yard, you go back, a week later and try to put it back together, you can't find it. Walked off the plant side, something happened. What they do now, they have little stickers that every time you take a piece of their factory out of a process unit, you slap a sticker on it. You can put it anywhere you want. When time comes to put that brick back in place, all you have to do is go in, find its item number. Bingo. Know exactly where it is. But we're talking within miles. I'm talking within just the zone of a bar, this entire refinery.
They have the ability to like put data fencing around certain areas to get that alert? Or-
No. It doesn't, it works
Just
opposite of that.
proximity.
Yeah. But it's a lot of fun, but boy, it makes a lot of people nuts. It's like, we're tracking my movement. We actually did. I mean, and there's some of the data about it from the manufacturer. But there's the transmitter and there's the receiver. All it is. Things pop up, they're solar powered. I'm in the middle of the desert. But one of the things we found out about it was we were testing the system. We look at the data, and there's like 36 of these tags all standing in one area. So there's an overlay that you put onto the dashboard. Okay, they're in the administration building. Why are 36 people huddled around the administration building? They were standing in line for microwave. We need to get more microwave ovens. But we did the same thing with it. Found another group of people. This was probably about 100 guys standing around. We did the overlay. It was in the middle of a barrel storage warehouse. And there's absolutely no reason 100 of these tags should be there. So either taking their tags off and depositing in a barrel, just picking them up when they come back. And we did the overlay onto it. I said, no, definitely not right. Come to find out, you walk into a warehouse, think of 6 layers, barrels stacked on top of each other on this industrial shelving. Top layer, they had barrels all around it, but on the inside it was hollowed out where they had their own little party room. And we found all kinds of really interesting things. We also could tell when they like everybody was moving to the front gate to wait for the horn to blow. You're not on tools, so therefore we're not paying you tool time, we're paying you standby time. And so it was literally, I mean, and this was a very short turnaround, saving 5,700 man. And do that, the procurement guys we're on it. I think it's like a 60-something% efficiency rate on it. So everybody's heard, everybody gets all excited about AI. AI is really helpful. It's predicting. I mean, it's a great tool, but there are pluses and minuses to it. It's got to break these things apart into these small business units. One of the things that we found out, and this was in Argentina of all places, because Argentina has a really bad security problem. Things just disappear. You know, they get paid fairly well, but yet they can still make more money selling a compressor or tools or something like that to someone else. So things disappear. So what we do with AI now is we actually put cameras around. Nothing special about them. It's literally a blink camera. So nothing zippity about the technology with it. But what we did was we trained the computer to say, look for, what's your name? Leonard? Leonard?
Larry.
Larry?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Working too many years in refinery. We take a picture of Larry with proper PPE on, hard hat, earplugs, glasses, boots, FR wear, harness, you know, all the sort of things that you would do. Well, now the camera identifies this stuff. So when you take a picture of this process unit, there's a person on there who doesn't have this harness and the harness isn't tied off. That sends a flag back to the computer. The computer says, wait a minute, anomaly detected, logs it. Go into the safety meeting at the end of the week. Oops, look at all these people who are caught without their harnesses. You don't have to call them out by name like you used to, because blame doesn't work anymore. But it's like, we're seeing this on a regular basis. It's some really cool stuff. So much so, we can drop things now. Cameras will pick up, dropped object. So we can test, find out what happens. Now, here's another thing. In Chinese, it is a really interesting word that I cannot remember right now to save my life. But there's a company that I work with over there that was, translation was aggressively seek better ways. So their entire turnaround mottos always aggressively look for better ways. Go to my plant in Beaumont, Texas, and you talk about the turnaround. You're going to do the same thing that they did for the last 38 years. The way we've always done it. It just blows us away. So when we're looking for efficiencies in operations, this is where we're finding. We're finding new companies that come out with a better way of doing something. But because we have been focused for so many years, our head down at the refinery level, don't pay attention to what's inside the gate. We do stuff like this. This is a company out of Calgary. And the Canadians, I don't know what they do, but they love to sit around and say, let's just do it this way. They sit around with their beer and we're sitting drinking the same beer and saying, I wonder if Americans are better.
Parties,
And then they're sitting around saying, hey, how can we change out these flares better? Because in Texas, we literally built scaffolds. That wasn't we would send people up those ridiculous ladder systems. That wasn't easy. Nobody wants to go up there. I would never go. But what these guys came up with was a crane one. I mean, there were no Billy Pew basket, if anybody knows what those are. And they lifted them up, dropped them off over there, tied off.
I've seen people up
It blows me away, the simplicity of it. But they're able to go out and do a flare repair about 60% faster than any other company in America. So when we started testing that around in some of the refineries, no. Next thing you know, this little company is doing such a good job. They gave me a bottle of hot sauce to give away, which is exceptionally good hot sauce. I mean, in addition to coming up with great ideas to do that, they came up with an awesome hot sauce recipe. But that's just it. Is that anytime you have an opportunity to go out and do something different, you need to take it. So what Exxon, Shell, Total, and Valero to a lesser extent have all done now is they've incorporated these innovation show me something innovative. We used an innovative process. Okay. Have a separate fund available for you to use. You know, say, okay, yes, this system's gonna cost me an additional $100,000 over the traditional model. Got the money for that. Spend it. For the first 2 years, granted there was a pandemic, the first 2 years, nobody spent that money. Now they're all coming and saying, wait a minute, I can try something new. So these guys are just loving it because it's like, how in the hell do we get all this business? Well, you shared it with, you know, a team of 25 different operational excellence guys. And, well, I mean, you're gonna have to ramp up. But, I mean, it's think of a new way to do it. But even as a company, we have been so institutionally programmed to beat down ideas, beat down innovation. You know, that if somebody comes up with a new idea, it's like, why? If you got a new idea, what's wrong with the way we're doing it now? Did that job. What you're saying that he didn't know what he was doing, it gets confrontational. So now by rewarding these ideas, these innovations, we're allowed to say, look, you've got a new idea, take it to your plant, run with it, like it, write it up, get a good best practice out of it, terrific. We'll pick up the best practices at the end of the year, do them all, and we go around and start shopping them around all the other refineries. Because that's the one thing you got to know about refining and the petrochemical business. We don't talk. It's sad. It's really, really sad. And the only reason, you know, operational excellence got to do it is because they would farm us out to work with all these other companies. And it's like, okay, by working in China for a totally different PetroChina, they do it this way. You know, so I could come back to Houston and say, well, we do it this way. And I get the best practice award. It was that kind of fun. Here's another one that really blew me away. Scaffolding. When do you think the last time they modified or invented something new for scaffolding? I'm serious, I might take that. I was home with them. I'll get flooded with it. When was the last time you think they updated scaffolding? 1966. That was the last time they came up with scaffolding. I mean, they innovated scaffolding. And it was
on after that.
it was changing from cut steel to tubular steel. So they could bend it around rather than cutting it, welding it, cutting it, welding it. Oh, you can use pipes of those different forms to come up with this thing that you've got here. It's just pipe holding it. This was in Germany. And you sit there and you look at this stuff and go, son of a gun, this is so easy. There's a company called Perry, P-R-I. I think they're big in commercial construction, stuff like that. They had a system. This is the frame. They would build it up by frame. Drop these things in there. Tap that once. So it's like, so they did that with the construction, the connections. That with 19. Together so well. 1x4s.
Similar concept, like,
It puts that simple stuff.
Yeah.
And
it's more some.
correct. And honestly, I've had brand out. Of disparity. I had brand out, and they would literally do monster scaffolding. They would build it in all. Some of them. And they'd inspect it, they'd have to take it apart, back together. So they usually built 3 times. These guys, they no, we're not going to come on site and build it. Show us the design. And they did a FLIR camera, which, what, 20 vendors that had FLIR cameras. They fly this drone out there, they take measurements of everything, design scaffolding in an engineering lab. They say, okay, you're gonna need this many, this part, this many, this part. Ship it all over there and boom, it goes up and it's like, seriously? You know, does it come apart that easily? Piece of cake. I have this. Why? You gotta see it to believe it. Like that. And it doesn't come apart. It doesn't collapse. Like, I've got a plant I'm going to tomorrow that uses bamboo. This is gonna blow them away. They don't use bamboo on everything. But it is really good if you're going over the side of a very. Really it. That's another one of those aggressively seek better ways. Because not many people think of, oh my God, is there something new going on in scaffolding? No. Think with this. Okay, 40% efficiency rate. So they can come in and save 40% costs by using this system versus if you're correct. At Exxon, we use a metric of 30%. You give me an efficiency of 30% or better, anything below that, we're a whole nother process of the. But you give me a 40% return on our investment all day long. So now they're sitting back there saying, okay, well, how do we do this? Well, you've got hundreds of millions of dollars of this sitting around in yards everywhere. And probably 1% of that, this type of system. Okay, well, that's a challenge, but how do you replace the world's, automobile fleet with electric cars? You do it one step at a time. The fun part is that in the Golden Triangle in Southeast Texas, Beaumont, Port Arthur, Orange, and Charles, there's such a shortage of scaffolding right now. Can't find it anymore. So now they're like, hey, what was the name of that company again? And I kept calling them Pelham. And Dartmouth's period. Would it help if you gave me a sample to put the logo on it or something like that? But nonetheless, I mean, it's that sort of silly stuff. But that's what every year I probably go to 40 different conferences, from AFPM to the Society of Maintenance and Reliability Professionals. And saying, what are you seeing? What are you seeing different? These are some of the things, and they just go back and shake your head. What? So that's all I've got. Got any comments, questions, things I need to change?
Thank you.
Let me know.
Thank you, George.
In the meantime,
Safe travels
take the
to
hot
you
sauce,
also.
Larry.
Probably you said.
It is really that good.
It is good.
Yeah.
I'm from Texas, so I like my hot sauces, but
This one worked out really well.
Have to look Perry up a lot of options and a lot of good stuff on there. But, I gotta.
but everything that works with that,
They've got planks, and they've got literally just by this, you can actually tie a man off on that with that kind of reliability. Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what they do is they go around from location to location. They put this down. Guy walking along it, you come up and hit it with a hammer, and that secures it in the tire. You can't do that. But I said, how many guys do you have in Houston selling it? No. How do you expect us to know? Well, we don't, but it's really big for, a German company, I think. German company, I think. And, German. Use it. Go on the website. And you can email me, send you another one, but it's really that good. And I don't, but I usually hate picking up things at a trade show because it's like, God only knows how old it is. There it is. I want a big one. Give me a shirt. I'm the most agnostic speaker out here.
That said, there was the innovation program.
Correct. No.
And how did you?
Everybody's getting a portion of it. A lot of people don't know it exists, don't want it. The frontline people coming up with a new idea. I literally, for years, would get my hands slapped. Why are you doing this?
Fixing that.
Yeah. My first job at Mobile was to sit on this bucket. I heard my name on the radio. I would turn this wheel, return to the right. I went to university. Really, this is it? What else do I do? Name, radio, name, stand up, and return right. That was all I.
That's what we all say, you know.
You have to remember that's why.
That's why.
You're gonna help. Are you with Marathon?
I am, but I used to be.
I love, Marathon. We started doing ground scanning. We did have a big policy 5 years ago. So people were going in there, hitting pipelines.
Oh, instead of.
We can do a GPR scanning. And they go, "We do that? Yeah, we can do that." And we do it, we do it, hey, my bag even says GPRS on it.
When you say we, you're talking about ExxonMobil or?
Yeah.
Or have a different.
Mhm.
I'm not a different. company.
Yeah, this is just one that we saw them as a best practice. And then we went around to all the other plants